All right, we're going to talk about Nokia. And I know what you're thinking, but this isn't the story you think it is. It's actually a wild tale of survival, of making these totally insane bets, and about the secret rebirth of a tech giant that pretty much everyone had left for dead. You've heard this one before, right? I mean, we've all said it. The iPhone killed Nokia. It's like the textbook example of a huge company that just couldn't keep up. End of story.
But what if that's not the whole story? What if I told you that's actually one of the biggest misconceptions in the history of business? See, the story of Nokia's death, well, that's really the story of its secret comeback.
So let's just start with a number. 19 billion euros. That's what Nokia is making in revenue right now. I mean, that doesn't really sound like a dead company, does it?
And it gets even crazier than that. Not only are they not dead, they're putting a 4G network on the moon. Yeah, you heard that right. The actual moon. So the big question is, how on earth did that happen?
Okay, to really get this comeback, we've got to understand what the new Nokia even is. I mean, if they're not making those brick phones anymore, where is all this money coming from? So if you look at how they make their money, the first thing that jumps out is what's not there. No phones. Instead, their biggest business, almost half of it, is mobile networks. That's the guts of cell towers, the tech that makes them work. Then you've got network infrastructure. That's the physical hardware, the plumbing that makes the internet run. And get this, even their smallest division, Nokia Technologies, pulls in over $1 billion a year just by licensing out their patents.
So who's buying all this stuff? Well, it's not you and me anymore. It's these guys. We're talking about the biggest names in the game: Microsoft, Google, Amazon. The huge telecom players. So think about it. Every time you do a Google search or stream something or use the cloud, chances are you're using Nokia's gear without even knowing it. They're not the company you use. They're the company that powers the companies you use every day. But to really appreciate how incredible this is, we have to rewind. We've got to go back to when they were literally on the brink of death. Let's go back to 2013. The company is in an absolute free fall.
And look, this isn't me being dramatic. This is a direct quote from Nokia's own chairman. He told his board, "Gentlemen, at this rate, we will be bankrupt in 18 months. I mean, can you imagine? They were bleeding money and the clock was seriously ticking. It was do or die. And this number says it all. Negative 96%. That's how much their stock price had crashed from its peak. The company's value had just evaporated. They were laying off thousands of people every single month. By any measure you can think of, Nokia was dying."
So, facing a total meltdown, what did the board do? They didn't just tweak a few things. No. They made 3 of the boldest, most counterintuitive, and, let's be honest, craziest bets in the history of business.
Here's what they did. 1. Sell the phone business, the one thing the entire world knew them for. 2. Take that money and buy a massive competitor. And 3. Completely reset the entire company. Let's break these down, because each one is wild.
Okay, this first bet might be one of the smartest exits in history. So yeah, they sold their phone business to Microsoft. But look closer at the deal. What did Microsoft get? The sinking ship, the factories, the 25,000 employees, the part that was losing a ton of money. And what did Nokia keep? Oh, just a crown jewels. We're talking 30,000 patents, the core tech for 2G, 3G, 4G, the iconic Nokia brand name, and their already profitable network business. They didn't sell their company, they sold their biggest problem.
So, what do you do after you just sold your biggest problem? Well, if you're Nokia, you turn around and spend 3 times that amount buying a huge competitor, Alcatel-Lucent. The market went ballistic. Wall Street analysts basically called it corporate suicide. I mean, why would a company that's already on life support make such a gigantic, risky bet?
Because they weren't just buying a competitor. They were buying this. Tucked inside Alcatel-Lucent was Bell Labs. If you don't know, Bell Labs is basically the holy grail of R&D. This is where the transistor was born, the laser. We're talking 11 Nobel Prizes. It was a treasure chest of innovation that was going to become the engine for Nokia's entire future. It wasn't a crazy bet at all. It was visionary.
Now the third bet. This one was probably the most brutal. They figured out their biggest problem wasn't their phones, it was their culture. You know that arrogance that comes from being on top for so long? It was killing them. So they performed what you can only call radical surgery. They got rid of 99% of their original workforce. 99%. It's like trying to change the engines on a jumbo jet while it's in mid-flight. Incredibly painful for sure, but absolutely necessary.
So, did it work?
After all that pain, all those impossible bets, where did it get them? Well, it turns out every single one of those decisions was perfectly positioning them for the next huge wave in tech, AI.
And then, just recently, this happened. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, the most important AI company on the planet, gets on stage and announces a massive partnership with Nokia. And they're not just partnering, NVIDIA is investing big time. Which begs the question, what on earth does the king of AI need from the company we all remember for making indestructible phones?
The answer is something called AI RAN. And look, in simple terms, it's about making cell towers smart. Right now, most cell towers are pretty dumb. They just blast out a signal. But with this new tech, a tower could see a big concert is about to start and automatically boost its signal for the crowd. It could power itself down at 3 a.m. when no one's around to save tons of energy. It's about making the whole network intelligent. And see, that's the key. NVIDIA has the AI brains, the chips, but Nokia has the towers, the global telecom relationships, and of course, Bell Labs.
And here's the payoff. The market for this smart network stuff is expected to be huge. We're talking $40 billion. If Nokia can grab just a small piece of that, which seems totally possible with NVIDIA in their corner, that would literally double their entire company's revenue from just this one new thing.
So it all comes down to this. The story of Nokia is it's a masterclass in how to survive. It shows that sometimes it's not about holding on to what made you successful. It's about having the guts to burn it all down to build something new. And that kind of leaves you with a question, doesn't it? If you were facing that kind of crisis in your business or even in your life, could you sell your core business to save your future?